Back in the old 5e days, the Paladins loved to take a one-level dip into Hexblade Warlock. This gave them the ability to use Charisma as their attack modifier, which made them so they could just invest in Charisma and make a Paladin that is good at nearly everything. Now, it was so powerful that it got kind of annoying that every single Paladin build you wanted to do would probably be better if it had one level dip into Hexblade. But now, luckily, the new version of D&D allows us to bypass that completely with just a background, and it's very, very powerful. This is Oaths of the Forest. We are going to be going a human. The reason why is we really want Magic Initiate Druid. We're going to pick up Shillelagh for a Shillelagh build, but none of the backgrounds that give it to us give us Charisma and Constitution stat buffs, which is what we want. The middle ground, going human. We can get an extra general feat. Then we can go the merchant background, which allows us to have Charisma as our primary, Constitution as our secondary. There's a few that let us do that, but the lucky feat is the best out of those options, so merchant we are. For our stats, our top three are going to be in order: Charisma, Constitution, then Strength. And you want to make sure that your Strength is precisely 14 if you can make that happen. Level 1, we come in pretty strong. I like to think of us as very similar to a level 1 Druid, except we have heavier armor, more HP, we have the ability to smite people with Divine Fury, and we have some weapon masteries on top. So like a really, really good first level Druid. The reason why we're a decent first level Druid is that we have Entangle, one of Druid's best spells. It's a great spell to pick up with this build because it's going to give us an option to have a little bit more AoE and a little bit more control on the battlefield, something we otherwise wouldn't have. On top of that, I took Produce Flame. Produce Flame fulfills two jobs decent. It allows us to see in the dark. We do not have night vision, so this is a way we can have light in the dark. And it also serves as a way to go into kind of a ranged combat mode for when we can't get into melee combat. We're also getting Lay of Hands at this level. It's a bonus action to give support to our allies. It's absolutely fantastic, excellent in the bonus action slot. Very, very powerful feature, always has been good, still is good. As for our weapon masteries, I'm looking at Topple from the Quarterstaff. It's fantastic, and since we're a Shillelagh build, it's just going to give some of our Shillelagh attacks advantage. And I checked, Topple works off of the modifier used. So now they're against your Charisma score against getting toppled. Okay, level 2, we're gonna pick up Dueling Fighting Style. This gives us a +2 to every single hit we make with a melee attack. So long as we don't have a weapon in the other hand. Then what about our attacks? Aren't they gonna suffer because it's a one-hand attack? No. That +2 damage is the equivalent of turning your D8 from your Shillelagh to a D12. In other words, you're wielding a Great Axe and having +2 to your AC thanks to your shield at the same time, and the Quarterstaff is a Druidic focus, which means we can be spellcasting through our Druid spells through it, so we never have to put it away. And we have our Paladin symbol on the shield. You don't have to be holding it in its hand in particular, so we can cast any Paladin spells. We're very, very flexible. Level 3, we get to choose our subclass, and frankly, it doesn't matter. This chassis works with any single Paladin you want, but flavor-wise, I feel like it fits the Nature Paladin the most. I mean, just think about it, you're carrying a Quarterstaff, you have a shield, very, very Druidic-y vibes. We've already been mixing with them anyways, it just fits. So that means we get the Nature's Wrath Channel Divinity, and I actually rather like this. I would rate it as a pretty dang powerful second level spell. And it allows us to have more area control, so not just Entangle, now we have this, and it's very, very good at dividing and conquering. Quite powerful. Now at this level, our nature spells are going to be Speak with Animals, which I always love. Just making friends with animals is fun to me. It kind of gives you some new NPCs to work with, for your DM to work with. That's kind of special to your character. Always been a fan of it. We're also going to get Ensnaring Strike. Ensnaring Strike is a pretty dang good smite. It's essentially just expanding what we can do with our smites. However, the problem is, once we get to level 4, we're not going to be smiting that often. We're picking up Polearm Master. Now, Polearm Master is going to take us from 14 strength to 15 strength, meaning we can now wear plate. Now that we have Polearm Master, we have a bonus action attack, and this bonus action attack is almost always going to be better than a smite, with the exception being if you get an excellent crit off. So this allows us to hold our spell slots for different important moments, like a utility moment, or a crowd. You have a crowd of enemies, it gives you control options, or you have an ally who's going down, it gives you support options. We save our spell slots for those instead of damage because we just naturally do a ton of damage with just our basic attacks. I've always liked this package, but I feel like it's better than ever. Dueling fighting style with Polearm Master gives you some really excellent damage output while keeping your AC high with that shield. It's an excellent balance. Level 5, we just continue smacking harder. We're getting extra attack, which is naturally really good, but now Shillelagh scales. It didn't used to scale, now it scales, so it's a D10 plus that 2 damage. If a D14 existed, that's how much damage this would be doing. It's doing more damage than a Great Axe swing. That's pretty dang good. We have 2 of those attacks, and then we have a bonus action attack on top of that. Fantastic. We're also getting Faithful Steed here, and Faithful Steed, I really like the imagery of riding a stag with this build. It just goes with that green knight, green paladin vibe. So we go cruising around with our stag, and it's really phenomenal what having a steed can do for you. Not only is it just increasing your mobility normally, your steed has an action, so it can use dash, just making your speed ridiculous. It also allows you to disengage because you're getting forced to move and your steed is disengaged, which means you can actually flee without getting an opportunity attack. It's phenomenal. Cast it every day you don't have it. Use it all the time. It's one of the Paladin's best features. Speaking of Paladin's best features, at level 6 we get Aura of Protection. Aura of Protection is normally phenomenal. In this case, even better because we are gung-ho on investing in our charisma. So the more we invest in our charisma, the better this gets. It starts out great and gets absolutely cracked. Level 7, Aura of Warding. Sometimes this is going to do absolutely nothing for you. Other times it's going to be absolutely fight winning. So I like it. I think it's either worthless or incredibly good and very rarely in between. Level 8, if you have an odd charisma, pick up Inspiring Leader here. Remember how I said our HP was good? Well, now our HP is great. Not to mention, we just did that to all of our allies, while bumping charisma at the same time, increasing our likelihood to hit, the damage we do, the aura of protection. Charisma's insane on this build. Now, if you have an even, go ahead and just invest in your charisma, let go of the HP, let's get that charisma up to 20 as quick as possible. Level 9, we pick up Abjure Foes. Abjure Foes I would rate as a good 3rd level spell. Another excellent way to divide and conquer your enemies, this one even more so. I really like this, it kind of keeps us in line with half-casters, but gives us control options which are really needed. And this allows us to slot it into our Channel Divinity slot instead of our spell slots, which means we have even more area control than normal. Level 10, Aura of Courage. Let's rewind back to what I said with the Aura of Warding. Basically the same thing. This is either going to be something that completely changes the flow of a fight, or it's going to be completely worthless. Really depends on your enemies. Fear is very common, and I mean, if you're ever going to face a dragon, this is going to be very useful. So I like it. Once again, it's one of those situational but powerful auras. Level 11, we pick up Radiant Strikes. You want more damage on your damage? Well, you got it. Now we get to add a D8 to every single one of our attacks. And Shillelagh scaled again to a D12. So I don't even have to add the +2 to say that this is dealing as much damage as a Great Axe. Now it's dealing a solid amount more, plus a bonus action attack. That still is worth a D8 and still is fantastic. Now, all of those get D8s on top of them. It's just an insane amount of damage coming from a one-handed weapon. And I haven't even really mentioned how you're toppling your enemies, so a lot of times you're going to be attacking at advantage just by nature of making them roll so many saves. We're also going to gain more tankiness in the form of Unyielding Sentinel and Elder Champion, with the latter also making us an incredibly formidable caster as well, and it puts it all in our bonus action. So we can still smack the crap out of people, but now we can be casting spells on a bonus action, and every save against them within like 30 feet of us is going to be a disadvantage. That's pretty scary, and it turns something like Entangle. It's back to being quite scary at this level. Pretty cool. So this is a build that I'd say is decent at a lot of things. Okay, then it has a lot of things we're just crazy at. In other words, I don't feel like this build has any big weaknesses, and I think it's going to be a build that grows in popularity over time. One of the few flaws I see in it is that you're not investing in your charisma at level 4. I delayed that to level 8 and level 12. And I can see that slowing us down in a lot of ways, but that bonus action attack hits really freaking hard. But I can see other builds where you continue relying on smites in your bonus action slot, and instead you focus on getting charisma up really, really quick. I think there's something viable there as well. Alright, but that is O's of the Forest. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and leave us a like down below. Also give us some ideas for some future builds. We'd love to hear them. But with that, my friends, hope you have yourselves an incredible day, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.